Do I have? No, I do? How's that? Okay, good. Good morning. And I'm Dennis, and I'll be your worship associate for this service of the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Charlotte County, UUFCC. We begin our service each week by singing an invitation to gather together, whether we're in a sacred virtual space or here in this sanctuary. So please rise in body and or spirit and sing 305 in the gray hymnal, De Colores. I wish to express my gratitude to Corey and Doug and Tom for supporting the technology this morning. And I'm also very grateful that Jim is at the keyboard again. By now, you probably have noticed that we're using first names only. The reason for that practice is to protect your privacy because this service is being broadcast live on YouTube. It will be available for viewing on the UUFCC YouTube channel after the service. You are welcome here at UUFCC no matter who you are or who you love, no matter where you come from, your background, or your spiritual journey. We know you come here for different reasons: to find community, to speak your spiritual and personal truths, to ask questions, to nurture and be nurtured, to explore new ideas. We come from different places, different religions, different beliefs, and different backgrounds. We trust you will find something that you need here: comfort, connection, challenge, and love. And we hope that you will find ways to help others. If you are new here or returning snowbird, please stand or wave your hand if you're comfortable and tell us your name and where you're from, and
Testing.
so we can welcome you. So, Tom's bringing a mic. Is there anyone new here today or returning?
I'm new. Oh, you'll be sorry you gave me a microphone. I'm new here, actually, not to Port Charlotte. I moved in 2015. The president at that time that won started my my activity in the community. I belong to many local organizations. My friend Ruth has always belonged here, and I didn't realize how important it was. But at the Martin Luther King Jr. Day Parade, us Dems followed the Social Justice Alliance, and the article in the paper brought me here.
Welcome. All right. If you would like to learn more about the fellowship, ask one of the folks that met you this morning at the door. Or you could visit the website, which is UUFCC.org. And, you know, we really are blessed with wonderful greeters. I really want to say my gratitude to them, too. And finally, I'd like to express my gratitude for this morning's speaker, Laurie Douglas. And wherever you are, we're glad that you've chosen this morning to spend this morning with us. All right. And now we will have the prelude. Thank you. Our chalice lighting words this morning were written by Richard S. Gilbert, and they are entitled, "We Bid You Welcome." We bid you welcome who come with weary spirits seeking rest, who come with troubles that are too much with you, who come hurt and afraid. We bid you welcome who come with hope in your heart. We who come with anticipation in your step, who come proud and joyous. We bid you welcome who are seekers of a new faith, who come to probe and explore and come to learn. We bid you welcome who enter this hall as a homecoming. We have found here room for your spirit, who find in this people a family, who have found here room again for a spirit, your spirit, whoever you are, whatever you are, wherever you are on your journey, we bid you welcome. And now as Laurie comes forward to light the chalice, please join me in reciting this, the chalice lighting words printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this fellowship and service. This is our aspiration, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to help one another. Our next hymn is number 6 in the gray hymnal, "Just as Long as I Have Breath," and please rise in body and or spirit. Our opening words this morning are entitled "Commitment," and they were written by Dorothy Day. People say, "What is the sense of our small effort?" They cannot see that we must lay one brick at a time, take one step at a time. A pebble cast into a pond causes ripples that spreads in all directions. Each one of our thoughts, words, and deeds is like that. No one has the right to sit down and feel hopeless. There is too much work to do. And now we acknowledge the sacredness of our lives, of our joys, our sorrows, and our milestones by entering them into the Red Book of Life. The messages can be written in the Red Book in the back at the sanctuary. Lynn's bringing it up now. You can also email your entries to bookoflife@uufcc.org. So there are none. So now we're going to do the dropping of the stones. We acknowledge the sacredness of life, sharing our joys and sorrows and life and milestones through dropping a stone into the water. The stone represents our pain or our joy, and the water, this community. If anyone would like to come up, please.
Good morning, all. My name is Lori. You know, my mom is Helen. She had a little major thing happen at her house yesterday. Her water tank exploded, and she woke up to like 3 or 4 inches of water. It threw her whole house. Chester's fine, just to let everybody know. That was the main concern, was that he was okay. So I would appreciate your positive thoughts and prayers for her, because she was very disoriented yesterday because of all of this. And thank God our friends were there to help her. So just positive thoughts for her.
Good morning. I am Patrick and I have two joys. Friday, I went to Sarasota. There was an opening of an LGBTQIA. Now they added on IA now, so intersex and asexual. And it was on Lime Avenue in Sarasota. The place was packed. It's like a factory. There was people outside. I seen people from community and artists there, so that was so good to see such a turnout. And another good news is locally, in the future, there's going to be a place called Artful Cottage, and they're looking for artists. So if anybody wants to participate, let me know and I'll give you their contact information. So they're going to be on Olean Boulevard in Port Charlotte. So I told the person doing this that I would advertise for them once they get going. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jackie, and I just put that stone in the water because Jim is here and doing well.
My name is Ted, if you don't know. I never thought I'd be up here. I'm not much one for throwing stones. But I have a problem, and I need help. The rod which holds the drapes in my living room, it's about 12 feet long or something. The whole darn thing came down yesterday. I can't get the drapery off the bar that holds everything up because it has some kind of special connections that I've never seen before. And I can't do it all myself. So if somebody knows how to deal with the drapery or knows somebody who can help me, I would appreciate it very much because I'm stuck. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Joseph, and I'd like to share a joy with you. I'm commemorating the birthday of Thomas Paine, a historic figure. His birthday is January 29th, 1737. An American hero, my hero. We're going to have a birthday party for him today at 3 o'clock. The secular community is going to host it. And he's really someone who I take inspiration from. He invigorated the American Revolution. He was anti-slavery. He was pro-universal suffrage. And his ideas are still very important today. So I celebrate his birthday. Thank you.
Okay. My name is Trudy, and I'm in charge of the art committee here, and I'm very grateful for our lovely, lovely fiber artists that are displaying their work. And one of them is a UU up in Sarasota, and I think they're just outstanding, and I've been trying to promote it around town. So I hope you'll all come Friday to meet the artists and at the reception at 4 p.m. The other thing is I went to a luncheon lecture at the Art Center, the Visual Arts Center in Punta Gorda. Was excellent. A professor spoke on the topic of brain health and the arts, and it was just spectacular. It was only $10 for members and $30 for non-members. And Dr. Gill from town is sponsoring it, and they have several people coming to speak, one each month on the same topic, maybe a different focus. And so if you're interested, that's at the Visual Arts Center in Punta Gorda. Once a month, and I did put a flyer up on the bulletin board if anybody's interested. Thank you.
I have a joy and a hope. The first one is our current new president has declared all of us females. So sex is determined at conception. Everyone is a female at conception. It's afterwards that they change that. So that's my first joy, although I still love my guys, I'm telling you. The second is the Commanders, known before as the Redskins. I'm from Virginia, and so that was the team that we followed all of my life, are actually going to be in the playoffs tonight for the first time, I think, since 1992. So I am just absolutely thrilled. So, no way.
This stone is for Jonathan, who's part of the Conversation Among Friends group, who is critically ill in the hospital in Largo. Maureen Peters is a contact from this congregation. She'll update us on his health.
This last stone represents all the matters that are too tender to share. May we hold these and our unspoken joys and sorrows in our hearts. May we also hold one another in love and tenderness so that this fellowship may be a source of strength and comfort, courage and hope in the days and weeks ahead. Let us share a moment of contemplation and meditation. And now it is my pleasure to call my dear friend and devoted UUFCC member, Laurie Douglas.
Good morning. Today, 6 of our regular folks are off in Cuba right now. And I thought it was interesting because there's some connections here between where they're at and the program that I'm talking about today. I lie awake in the dark, early morning. The air is cool, roosters crow. Then the dog starts, one and then another and another. Then soon the clump of carts on uneven roads and the vendors, tortilla, tortilla. It seemed only minutes before I fell asleep to the reggaeton of the neighbors nearby. An occasional thump from an avocado falling from the huge tree onto the tin roof. A baby crying, a disgruntled dog, then silence, darkness and silence. The sounds carry in this village as the walls do not touch the ceilings. The tin roofs are attached above to leave plenty of room for air circulation and an occasional gecko to look down from above and wink. But now the aroma of the bread maker a few doors down seeps through my consciousness and the smell. Oh. Followed by kitchen sounds of the hard-working woman lighting the gas stove with a match and checking the huge pan of gallo pinto, rice and beans, the staple in almost every meal. Company is here. An egg accompanies the gallo pinto, and yummy white cheese is sprinkled along the top. A plate of just picked fruit arrives, along with a cup of delicious coffee. I am in heaven. No, I am in Nicaragua. This kind woman takes a moment from her busy morning of feeding her family and cleaning the house to put her hand on my shoulder, and we all bow while she says a tender, personalized prayer just for me. Her gentle and generous gesture melts away my cynicism and discomfort. Maybe I am in heaven. Before I'm halfway through this delicious meal, the daughter-in-law appears and helps hand plates to extended members seated in various areas inside and outside of this tiny and tidy home. The mother has quietly left to deliver paper plates of food of several neighbors. Hardly noticeable, she goes in and out. This peaceful village in Nicaragua holds generations of families, artisans, shopkeepers, and many well-educated professionals. Water is not a given here. It is turned on every other day. And fortunate families have tanks to store the water. Cold showers are taken by dipping a plastic bowl into a large container while standing in the shower stall. Brr! The first drips not quite aimed to touch the body. All of the children in this family are musicians, and the eldest is a psychologist. Dad is a pastor of a church and a college professor. He travels hours on buses to reach the capital city where he teaches. This country is the largest in Central America and the second poorest country. Education is highly valued by Nicaraguans, with parents sacrificing everything to enable their children's education. At the same time, there are very few jobs to be found for these hardworking people. One job typically feeds 6 to 8 people. Average families make $250 a month. It is the year of 2006. I am privileged by freedom and independence and wealth, not the unimportant kind of wealth like with shiny cars and mansions, but the level of wealth that can buy food and clothes when I want them, not only when I need them. I have water when I turn on the faucet, and lights when I turn on the switch, and shoes that protect my feet, and eyeglasses and medications when I need them. Prior to my first trip to Nicaragua, I was given an excellent preparatory education from Joe, my mentor and pastor at the time. This was at an Episcopal mission church in Michigan, which, with the exception of the referrals to God, was in belief and behavior much like our fellowship. I was to go on this trip in order to determine the feasibility of developing a project there. Joe shared a background in liberation theology with a Baptist pater who we will call Luis in Nicaragua, whom over the years I became quite close to. For those not familiar, a writing in the Catholic Identity of May 21st, 2020 states, in 1973, a Peruvian Roman Catholic priest, Gustavo Gutierrez, first used the term liberation theology to describe a school of thought which holds that the gospel of Christ demands the church concentrate its efforts on liberating the people of the world from poverty and oppression, not just helping the rich as in other religions. Joe spent extensive time telling me of what he and others learned from their studies, their trips at the end of the Contra War and after, and the many law discussions with the locals. The results? Another country devastated from American colonialism. A skilled, hardworking, educated population undercut by Western greed. After finishing the pile of books that Joe gave me to read, I began to wonder, why would they ever even want to talk to me? I was told clearly, they know the difference between the people and the government. That lesson has served me well over time, especially months later, while standing in a small bodega in Nicaragua. I picked up a thin newspaper. Inside the front cover was a full page of Jeb Bush telling them how to vote in their own country. None of the books and words would make that message clearer than what I saw. Segue. So I stepped off my plane into the steamy airport, waiting to meet the first of several extremely kind people in several villages who would house this white woman that they did not know. I go to my first meeting of the project, where one of the men, an attorney, enters carrying his daughter on his shoulders and continues to care for her throughout the meeting. Now, this was a first for me. We all shared one pocket-sized dual language dictionary to communicate more clearly, obviously before internet stuff here. A few years later, after multiple trips to this enchanting country, I am back again with my 11-year-old grandson, the same age as the youngest son of my counterpart in the project. They got along famously, despite not speaking the same languages. At the end of the trip, my grandson said to me in wonder, "Grandma, he gave me his favorite car, and he has so little. I gave him my favorite hat." Near the end of the trip, our families traveled together to another part of the country by the ocean. After a wonderful day at the beach, both my grandson and myself ending up getting very sick from some bad pizza due to an electrical failure in the town while it was being cooked. After a horrendous ride back over bumpy and winding roads, we were brought to our room and helped into a large bed surrounded by our hosts. We took turns jumping up and stumbling to the bathroom with nothing but a shower curtain for a door. Coming from a country with the privilege of privacy and high-end health care, you can well imagine this was horrifying. We were too sick to do anything about it. They patted us and held our hands and wiped our foreheads while reassuring us. The doctor arrived and came with her family. I had never felt so cared for. Fear and shame were long gone. We were enveloped in love. I look at our country and I shake my head. How did we get so far away from each other? The Nicaraguans have a wealth of spirit despite the adversities. They have a generosity that shares what money cannot buy. Laughter, loving touch, and unencumbered hugs fill the days, despite the circumstances. I am profoundly changed. My presentation here is the result of an 18-year relationship of a white woman and family of material wealth from the United States and several impoverished families of brown people in Nicaragua. Note, I did not say from America. As I quickly learned, we in the United States do not own the continents of the Americas, despite our thoughts and behavior. Over the years, we developed a partnership in a cross-cultural project between the two countries. They hosted many groups from the US and taught us about the customs and culture. We taught them English and they taught us Spanish. We brought supplies and medications and money for food. They housed us and our children, who learned about gratitude and love without financial wealth. Our children experienced the safety of playing in a village of caring adults. As the project moved ahead, my relationship with Luis, my counterpart in the project, grew as well. We planned together, dreamed together, shared family stories, and stayed in each other's homes. We understood each other better than our meager understanding of each other's languages. My older two grandsons grew up with his sons. We shared celebrations and losses across counties and in person. Luis taught his congregation and his family about acceptance and loving people regardless of difference. Luis stood up for Jackie and I at our wedding in Michigan, despite the disapproval of his peers. I supported him through a large crisis at one of his churches. Luis and his family helped us find an excellent dual diagnosis treatment center in Nicaragua for our grandson when we couldn't find one in the US that we could afford. His family stepped up and supported him at every step when we could not be there. I became the godmother, abuela of his grandchildren and aunts of others. Luis's wife introduces me as her sister-in-law. Luis is and was the brother I never had. The prologue to this story of relationship is rather tragic, and my love is bittersweet. I'm choosing to share it due to the changes in our government and to remind us of the value of democracy. In our government, one of the values of Unitarian Universalism is democracy. How important it is and how quickly things can change. I have changed the name of my Nicaraguan brother and friends to protect their family's security. Moving into later times, in 2018, Nicaragua had another uprising. The increasingly autocratic rulers became more fearful and repressive, feeling threatened by journalists and young men. So much so that many educated young men hid in the mountains and fled from the country to nearby Costa Rica and other countries, rather than ending up in jail or worse. People whispered in their homes as the army raided houses and climbed onto roofs to search for these youth. I met up with my Nicaraguan family in Costa Rica and shared stories. Gradually, those that could not afford to move returned to their homes and new lifestyles. Educated young men sold drinks in small plastic bags on the street with the women and found whatever work they could. Families adjusted as they do, and the growing culture of tourism disappeared. In 2021, my dear brother Luis died of COVID. I am glad that he wasn't around to live in the increasing repression that has choked the joyful and free atmosphere of the country he loved. Priests were jailed, nuns run out, nonprofits not permitted. Any type of humanitarian visits are no longer permitted. People are not allowed to gather in groups for fear of accusation, jail, and torture for treason. The only churches allowed are evangelical, and those have to meet privately. No longer are the sounds of church singing as you walk down the street. Phones are inspected in the street to make sure that nothing negative is being shared about the government. Small businesses get raked for money on a weekly basis. Those who run against the government are arrested. At the same time, people persist. Their strong resilience and ability to cope, their humor, their love, and their creativity to make something work out of next to nothing is absolutely incredible and admirable. Their faith gives them comfort and holds them up. You have seen some of their creativity here in the sanctuary a few weeks ago and out in the social hall today. I will end with a story that will hopefully give you a picture of the extent of their full creativity in action. One day in Michigan, two of our dear friends, Joel and his adult son Felipe from Nicaragua, were visiting. They often stayed with us while on business, buying an old school bus and driving it back to Nicaragua to repair and sell as a regular public bus there. Jackie and I lived in a small house with a loft on a dirt road in front of a small lake surrounded by several acres of gorgeous oak and black walnut trees. The house had white trim with pretty blue wooden siding. Our home was frequented by many birds and squirrels and deer. This particular day, a woodpecker set to work at making an impressive hole in a piece of the siding in the front of our house. We shooed him away, but the artwork remained. Shortly thereafter, without asking, our ambitious friends came to the rescue. They got a ladder from the garage, examined the hole, and asked us if we had a piece of metal. We weren't so sure what they were up to. I didn't see anything suitable, so they sent me back in again. Anything metal. So I searched around for something and found an old piece of golf equipment. You know, one of those unused gadgets about yay big that had a hole for a golf ball and a clip for a scoreboard on it? Well, this apparently would do the trick. So before we knew it, Joel got on the ladder and bang, 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 took the whole thing and nailed it to the front of our house. Now, I was thinking they were going to cut a piece or do something else, but they called us over to see the handiwork. Well, what does one say when others go out of their way to solve our problem? We were appropriately appreciative and highly impressed. From that day on, until we readied our home to be sold the following year, that sweet memory reminded us of their caring and creativity on a daily basis. Thank you.
Our next hymn is in the Teal hymnal. It's 1023, Building Bridges. Now this is a round, and yes, and the ladies in the choir will be over here and lead you, and the men will be over here and lead this side. Okay, so it's 1023 Teal book.
Reach out to
In our tradition, congregations exist because of the generous support of members and friends. It is our privilege and our responsibility to ensure the health and future of this fellowship. To this end, your offering to support the ministry of this fellowship are accepted on Sunday mornings and can also be mailed to the fellowship. Payments are also accepted through the Venmo app, and that should be made to UUFCC offering. And whichever way you choose to donate, please indicate what the donation is for your pledge, second helping, etc. Your generosity is always appreciated. And if you're with us for the first time, you don't need to give. Your presence is more than enough. And now it is time for Life of the Community. And first I'm going to ask Robert to come up. And then after Robert, Shelley has something to announce.
Do you have any idea what I'm going to say? We're going to have fun in February. There's all kind of stuff going on here. Different people are presenting topics. And I'm just going to give you an overview of the first 2 weeks. Getting to Know You by Aubrey and Dennis. If you want to bid on euchre and play euchre and gamble, you see Betty. Raised Bed Gardening by Mike. Drum Circle with Shelley and Doug. And UU Digging Deeper by Lori Douglas. Now, this is the first 2 weeks. We have other stuff coming up. So, but I'm going to have a table back there in the back with sign-up sheets, and I can describe some of these courses. I mean, they're just like 2 hours, and anybody can come and go. Doesn't make any difference. But they're just people that want to present little topics that are interesting to our community. Thank you.
Hello. I come bearing two things. First one is our Monday 3 o'clock yoga, which Jim is an amazing yogi and walks us through an hour worth of instruction, and we all feel wonderful on the other side of that. Here's the problem. We don't have any church members going or congregation members going at this point. The ones that we had have other things going on in their lives. They're very, very busy. And I believe that in order to offer this service, we have to have UUFCC participation. And so my plea to you is to come in and enjoy yoga on Mondays at 3 o'clock. And probably by the end of February, I might have to make the decision of not having it any longer if people don't come. And that's just because we get this place for free if we have congregation members doing it with us, but we don't get it for free if not. And, that's, I guess, the reality of it all. So I hate to sound like Debbie Downer, but please show up. It's very important, and I actually find it to be just a wonderful experience for me. And for those who have been able to come, they will tell you the same thing. Not at this point in time. This has been done for several years, and Nina and Aubrey were kind of hosting that beforehand, and they were always having it on Monday. I tried Friday last year. No, nobody showed up. So and it's tough. We all have busy days and things to do, but this is for us, not for me. I don't get paid to do this. This is for our congregation. So please keep that in mind and try to show up if you can. It's well worth it. The second thing is me being behind the 8 ball on the auction. And I have to be honest with you, I am behind the 8 ball on the auction. But I have, based upon the town hall last week, had several people sign up for specific things in the auction. And given that we are getting close to a month away from it, I figured I should get my butt in gear. All right. So I'll be coming around and asking you to see what you can do. I think that we really need at least 10 people to pull this off. It's not a small task. And I've got several people who are doing different things, but it'd be nice to have at least 3 in each category to help out. And I think that would help us out tremendously. I will tell you that, and I know I'm taking a long time, but I'm going to just take a long time. I will tell you that services are a big thing in these types of auctions, and I can come up with a list of different things that I think would be fun, like a murder mystery dinner, or just a specific cuisine dinner, or getting Ted not to tell jokes. And things like that. And so I'll put those out there this week. But I'd like for you, if you have something in your mind that you'd like to offer, please send me an email. My email is in the directory, and I'll put that together. And then we'll deal with the art and other things that people will want to donate next week. So I'll try to announce something next Sunday after potluck or during potluck. And then our first official meeting, we had one in November that nobody came to except for 2 people. We will have a meeting on Tuesday morning. And I know that seemed to be the ones, based upon the people I spoke with, the best time for them to come. And then I also have on here best days to meet. So I know that lots of people like to do things virtually. I was a face-to-face professor, and I'm still a face-to-face person. So, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
If you don't have a direct
Wouldn't it be on the UUFCC.org site? That's not true? Okay, I'll have to solve that problem. Okay, so I'll add email on here too, that you can write, because I've got phone numbers, and nobody wants to answer a 434 prefix. I don't know this person, and if I know her, I don't want to talk to her. Okay, yes? It's about raising money. First off, the theme is going to be Mardi Gras. So it's on March 1st. That's the planned date. If something happens and we can push it out, if we need to push it out, we can push it out, because it's not cast in stone. It's just a good date for us. And what it is this is done throughout the UUs in the country, and probably other churches. They have auctions where they have both the silent auction part, where you put things out and people silently bid and they win. And then they have the live auction part, where there might be a service or something else, or a piece of art or something that we want to put in the live auction. And there are people who know more about this than I do, honestly. And then they'll bid on it. So the idea is to have somebody who might be an auctioneer, which would be a lot of fun. Then we have music and entertainment and potluck. So it'll be an event. And several people have offered to make a potluck, and I think that that's probably going to be the way to go. And then there's been several people like Carlos and Janice and other people who have said they will, for entertainment, sing, dance, whatever, So we'll come together with that. So it's not just coming in here, bidding, and leaving. It's, I'd like to do games and stuff too. So, I'm open to suggestions, but I'm one person, and I need a lot more people than just me. All right, thank you.
I also wanted to mention this week there is a Overeater Anonymous group meeting at 6:30 on Wednesday. That's new to this group. And there's also 2 chalice circles on Monday, mine and the Collins Chalice Circle. Our closing words were written by Emma Goldman. Someday men and women will rise. They will reach the mountain peak. They will meet big and strong and free, ready to receive, to partake, and to bask in the golden rays of love. What fancy, what imagination, what poetic genius can foresee the potentialities of such a force in the life of men and women? And now, Laurie will extinguish the chalice, and will you please join me in reciting the order, it's in your order of service. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of hope, not of commitment, the warmth of community. May these ideals shine in our lives and warm our hearts until we are together again. Go now in peace. Now please rise in body and spirit and sing hymn number 413, Go Now in Peace.